The Iksar have pretty much one of the easiest paths to leveling. I don't know if a guide is necessary, but I think that having a guide will show you just how much thought was put into the Runes of Kunark and the new race being introduced. Normally I don't play evil races, but I've always been fond of Iksar warriors for the extra AC bonus. Now that I'm looking at this, you can create monks, necros, beast lords, but those aren't in the game yet for Teak release, shadow knights, shamans, and warriors. Now, generally speaking, I'm going to have monks, shamans, and warriors. If I'm able to get these classes to the 30s and I port with a druid, it's not so much of a danger at the druid rings to die, and I can evac right away. So what I'm thinking is maybe I make at least one monk, if not two of my monks, a shaman and a warrior for my 3 or 4 box to start, and I level those. And on the other side of the continent, I'll have like my paladin, enchanter, cleric. Maybe you have to keep a monk that way too, but Iksar would be a really good 3-4 box start. If you did shaman, shadow knight, and a monk or two, I mean, that would be absolutely epic. Just having, you know, the best duo in game in the same spot, the shaman and the shadow knight, is just elite. And there's nowhere else that can happen except for the evil races. I think trolls can also do shaman, shadow knight, and ogres can do that, but there are no good races, even neutral races, that can start with that combo. You see, even if you go human, they can't play shamans. The only race that I'm aware of that plays shaman is barbarians, and you're stuck with the warriors. So any of the evil races, if you are 2 to 3 boxing, I should mention this, if you can start your 2 or 3 box with a shaman and a shadow knight, it makes for easy leveling, easy grouping, and just an all-around fun time, as that is the most powerful duo combo in the game. If you are Iksar, you'll start Ankabilis. Alright, so just straight out here in this newbie area, all this stuff out here, and there's a lot of stuff, is level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can just roam around here just kicking the shit out of everything for your first 3-4 levels. And then the best part about this is if you just run over into this pit up here. I mean, this zone ranges from like 1 to 15, I think. So into this pit here on the south side of this pit, and this is going to be pretty packed. There are some like level 10 things in here, but this stuff is generally level 5, 6, 7. And then as you progress north, you know, there's level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you'll be able, especially if you're grouping or boxing here, there's a lot of stuff you'll be able to pick out. And you can see some of it's indifferent. So it's not like it's going to be aggravating except for the skeletons. If you continue north, it actually goes up to on the other side of the skull. These things actually go up to level 15. So you can then move up to here once you're level 10 and across this. I mean, it's a whole self-sustained zone. In the northeast, there's a skeleton camp that is in the 25 to 30 range, so you could always come back here and farm that. I think that camp's for sure on my list. Also out of the pit into the east is another 10 through 15 zone, all this crap out here. And then if you didn't want to level in this pit, if you see these runes right here, this is with the spider markings, this has a bunch of level 2 through up to 6, I think, things in it, and it's pretty decent size. So you can clear that out. Just show you quick. It's a little underground cavern, so you got to go to this part of it to get in. This in here wouldn't be a bad duo spot, whatnot. Lots of spiders, low level. So if they find that beginning area is too cramped up, you could always come over here. I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of picks of just this Field of Bone. Where it really kicks off is if you can get a group or you're strong enough. Kern's Tower is one of the best leveling spots in the game. I think the other races will probably try to cross and come into this area to level. We'll take a peek into the tower quick. This was one of like the top leveling spots for this level range in the game when this came out. This will probably be packed more so than a lot of the other zones. I imagine there's going to be a lot of Iksars starting, because normally when you start to look at making an Iksar, you already got like your level 50 mains and you're just going to level to 60. So your Iksars become alts, or those hardcore people that really want to switch or used to switch for the extra AC for tanks. So tons of skeletons in here and undead, and the bottom floor has those little mole looking things. But the level range inside Kern's Tower goes from level 7 up to, I think the boss is like 20. You can just come here at level 7 and just dominate this entranceway here, and you got to watch out because you saw there's some level 12, 13. So imagine like a group around level 7 to 10, I guess would probably be best. But whether or not you go down or up, the levels increase as you go either way. Just a fantastic area to level. Plus you eat all these bone chips. But Kern's Tower is pretty much going to get you that 10 to level 15 and even level 20 range. You do not have to go anywhere if you're an Iksar. It's literally level in the newbie area, level in that pit, and then get to Kern's Tower when you can and fight stuff outside. And if you think about it, if you leave Kern's Tower at 20, you can head to that northeast camp between 25 and 30. If you have a big enough group, you can just actually probably level to 30 in this zone. That northeast area might be tough by yourself with the levels being so much higher. Your bordering zones are the Emerald Jungle, which is going to give you an ass whooping if you try to leave too early. And K-Sora is actually the same thing, level 30 to 50 range. Warslick's Woods is levels 1 through 30, and that is actually going to be your alternative area if you don't want to have fun in this zone. Warslick's Woods, if I'm saying that correctly, is actually your gateway to the Over There. The Over There has a really good level 15 to 20 spot in the northeast corner. And then that zone is really good from the high 20s up to 35. I think I used to level even close to 40 in that zone, pulling stuff from the field and dodging dragoons. All right, so here we are right next door in the neighboring zone. You can see the Over There is over there. Lake of Ill Omen, which you can also do from 15 on, over there, 15 on. I mean, you come out of Cabalist to the west, you can get right into Lake of Ill Omen. There's a bunch of camps. The Over There is a bunch of stuff. Also outside Cabalist West is another newbie area. That's your 1 through 5 area. There aren't really good options to get from 5+ because a lot of the mobs are high level. At the end of this river here, these Iksar bandits would be your best bet as they range from levels 5 to 10. Okay, so if we look at here, we have the Giant Fort in the south, levels 18 to 27 right here. And then in the north is that Goblin camp I was talking about. Goblin Fort, 15+ mobs, 11.5 going to be popular. That's 13 to 22. So another one of those, you know, levels 10+ ranges. Probably want to be 15 so that you don't get whooped up on there. And once you're at that 10, 15, 20 range, you can pretty much go to Lake of Ill Omen and stay there until you're 30. Then you can go to the Over There. Lots of options. So I just left Warslick's Woods. We're going to go check out the Swamp of No Hope. As far as Lake of Ill Omen, a lot of you are probably familiar with Lake of Ill Omen. That was in the south part of Warslick's Woods. And we'll just check while I'm running here. Lake of Ill Omen is a pretty big hotspot for this expansion. You can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 areas inside Lake of Ill Omen that are listed as camps. What that means is there's a high enough concentration to label them as camps. There are also a lot of random mobs throughout the zone. But if you look, this is that north of the lake area, levels 10 through 16. You got 17 to 21, 21, 25. All the level ranges that you need here, get to at least level 25 can be done in Lake of Ill Omen. This camp right here gets a little bit higher. So at level 25, that's where you can start to look for some of those other camps that I mentioned earlier in the video. Usually I use a druid when I'm showing people stuff, but this is the only account I have active until probably Monday. I'll bring up all the rest of my accounts that I'm going to be playing, but I am kind of liking this Iksar idea. I really think that I might possibly split my boxes into 5 and 4 and make all my characters at once and just kind of run 2 groups at the same time. The way that I do that is I would grab one of those camps, clear it out. Then in the other boxed group, I'd also be doing the same thing. I'd be clearing a smaller camp and waiting for respawns and kind of alternate that way. I'd be leveling half as fast if I was in a better area. But then I'm also in no rush to try to fight with people for other camps. I can just kind of take the 10 to 15 mobs and wait for respawns because I'll be making progress on my other 5 characters. So I am thinking it's going to be 3 and 6 or 4 and 5, Iksar, Shaman, Warrior, Monk, and then maybe another Monk. I will not make a Shadow Knight because I'll be playing the Paladin and there's really no reason to have those 3 type of tanks. So here we are. Cabalist East zones out right into Swamp of No Hope, or you can get there from Field of Bone. This is how you get to Tragnon's Tooth. This area here, besides the Black Ravagers that are up in the northeast on the way to Tragnon's Tooth, which are in the 50s, so definitely stay away from there, is generally 1 to 25. So there are a huge frog lock right in this area. There's a big, massive thing. There's got to be 30+ mobs, but it does range from 15 to like 22. So a higher level area. There is also a newbie area coming out of Cabalist East. To the south here, there's a bunch of level 1 through 5 mobs. And if you continue south down this way, you can find some mobs from the 6 to 10 range. And if you keep going further south, they do get up to 13, 14, 15. I don't know if this is necessarily a good spot to come out and level in besides the newbie area and this big golem camp, but this is another zone that you have access to. And this is really, if you're coming here and you're just doing beyond this newbie area, like this frog lock thing is where you could come back here from 15 to 22. Iksar have so many options for leveling. When they thought out the Iksar race, they really did a good job on planning a leveling pass because you don't have to go far at all, where all the other classes on the mainland usually have to suffer after they get to like level 10, and even getting to level 10 in some of those beginning cities is absolutely brutal. Iksar don't have that problem. Everything is laid out for them. They have many options for different level ranges, and they don't have to travel far from home. And I mean, once you get to level 25 range, you got access close to Frontier Mountains. You can go back to the over there. You pretty much don't have to leave the ruins of Kunark as an Iksar ever to level to 60. Now, you probably want to group with friends and do some of the dungeons. Maybe you want to hit up Castle Mistmore, etc. But the thing is, like, all that gear is going to be heavily camped by the other people on that continent, and it's going to be for sale. The main thing you want to focus on if you're going to play Iksar is getting that character to the East Commons Tunnel near the parcel vendor, and then being able to send money from your Iksar back and forth to that alt character so that you can buy items to send back to your Iksar. If you do that, you'll have access to all the loot you need from the East Commons auctions, and you'll never have to leave this continent, like, really at all. I mean, just think, you have Chardok on this one, Karnark's Castle, the Dreadlands. I mean, all those, like, really awesome leveling spots are just right near you at all times. And since I'm already on, and the guide's kind of been disappointing at this point because it's really that easy with Iksar, I'm just going to show you the spot in the over there, because most people, when they think of over there or back in the live servers, they think of, you know, level 25 plus to 40, 25 being too low because they start in that southwest corner by Skyfire. So a lot of people aren't actually aware, or they used to not be aware of the actual section in the northeast for lower level ranges. And it's a good spot to hide out. So if you're feeling a little bit crowded and want to sit around, it might not be bad to check out. It's just so slow running even with this fast mount. One of those things, again, is not as bad as the Karanas, but you're going to want to be high enough level to not die on this run, because dying could cause you a big setback and take a lot more time to run across the zone. So, you know, if you're traveling around level 15 across here, you should be all right as long as you avoid some of the big areas, like this big goblin camp that's coming up here. Going to make sure you want to run around that or use invisibility. But just since we're already here, I'll show you the goblin camp. It's massive. It's like one of those big giant camps in Frontier Mountains. All sorts of fun stuff in here. And we've made it. So the whole southwest corner is literally level 20, probably 8 to 39 down yonder, all along this wall people level. This is usually a problem area for the good races, but I think as Iksar you can walk around here freely. The center pit has things that are 30 to 35 outside of the hollowing stones, but the area you're looking to go is just right up to the right here. It's just like leveling down in the south where you kind of sit along the wall, but up and along here, see level 20? All this stuff out here is between 15 and 20. It's going to run a little bit further out. So it's the same type of stuff, level 19. Field pulling, make sure you have spells or bows, and then as you get up out in here, it gets more concentrated. Same crap as that level 15, 18. You know, it's the same crap. All this stuff out here. And you can sit up on the hill there. Or if you're strong enough to have a group, you can just sit right in the freaking middle of all this stuff and pull. And one thing is to stay away from these ruins out here on the map. These things are like the other things in zone level 30 plus. So stick to the crap that's outside of it. And you can actually run this whole field out here if you wanted. You could just roam through the field actually. All this stuff on this east side besides those little concentrated camps are in that level range. I'm almost east of Hollowing Stones, and you can see some more stuff out in the field here. Just some peaceful killing. And then Frontier Mountains is down to the south. That's like level 25 to 40. Excellent. A lot of giant forts there. There's a lot of options. Like I said, you're basically going to start out your newbie area, run to that little center area in the Field of Bone, Turns Tower, and then you're looking at where do you want to go next. There's a lot of camps, 15, 20. You can go to Lake El Omen. You can come out here. I mean, just so many options. So during the Depths of Dark Hollow expansion, I actually started twinking characters using the tradable loot. And one of the fun things I did was take all of my healers pretty much and support classes, and I would take this like level 2 twink is what I ended up with. And the reason I got a level 2, it's a level 2 paladin, is because I think of Blinding Light or Flash of Light, so that I could hold aggro on the things I was trying to tank. So I'd gear this guy out as best as I could with the gear that he could wear. And then he was level 2, and then had a bunch of healers. And if you're interested in seeing what I did with that, you can watch this level 2 paladin tank the dragons Talendar and Severus, however you say that. Those videos will be available up here if you're interested in seeing how awesome tradable loot gets when you're making twinks.